For 25 years, I invested in the real estate market. I managed over $110 million in assets, and real estate was a very important part of their portfolio. It was an integral part of their financial plan, their map to reach their objectives and their goals. This is my office today. July 12th, 2008. I'm on my way to work. I'm thinking about the things I have to do, just like yourselves when you're traveling to work. In the morning, you're thinking about the phone calls you have to make. You're also thinking about your itinerary for the day, the networking you have to do. The third call of the day, I received bad news. Mervyn's and Linens and Things were going bankrupt. The real estate investment trust that I had invested in was in jeopardy. And not only was the trust in jeopardy, my clients' dividends were in jeopardy, and occupancy was going to fall upwards of 5%. What do you do? As an advisor, you are an entrepreneur and explorer. Every day is a different day. Dr. David Livingstone, the African explorer, carried on his belt a pouch, and in that pouch he carried a pen, a map, and a prismatic compass on the other side of his belt. That prismatic compass was very important. It was important because it gave him immediate feedback. It brought him back on course if he had lost his direction. The pen was for documentation. A map is not as significant if it does not have documentation to go with it. The map can show you landmarks, but it does not give you direction. My success as an advisor was primarily due to a number of reasons. Those reasons were I had a financial plan, a map, I had documentation, and I had a compass. My documentation helped me survive the tough years as an advisor. For 25 years, I would document my conversations, I would record my contacts. When I became an African guide in 2004, the same scenario applied. I kept a diary every day. Fast forward to July 2011. I'm canoeing down the Zambezi River. My guide Humphrey, who I've had as a Zimbabwe guide since 2004, is in the first canoe with Teresa. Teresa is the mother of Alyssa. Alyssa is a 23-year-old student from the U of A. She's in my canoe. Behind me is Tish. He's a tracker. He has the responsibility of taking care of my wife. Now, as you're driving to work many times in the morning and you're on the freeway, how often have you encountered traffic so thick that you're gripping the steering wheel and you've got tension in your neck? But you know, it's all in perspective. It's where you are at the time. You could be behind a herd of elephants on the Zambezi River, or crocodiles, or even a school of tigerfish could be there. As we're canoeing down the south bank of the Zambezi River, we hear the gnashing of teeth, bellowing hippos. And if you've never seen a hippo tooth, this is a small hippo tooth. Can you imagine hippos, two male hippos, they're fighting, 3.5 tons ramming into each other. That's 14,000 pounds. It's an unbelievable sound. Their pod out in the Zambezi, they decide that they're going to not interfere with the fight, and they move themselves out across the river. And they form a barricade. And Humphrey, as he's giving us instructions, he looks out over the river. And many times, like in financial plans, obstacles just pop up. As this video shows, in the next 10 seconds, you will see from 1 hippo to 5 hippos. They just pop up. And I'm thinking to myself, I have to get a photo. As I pick my camera up, Humphrey looks back. Paddle, Fred, paddle now! I drop my camera, which has a strap, falls down. I pick up my paddle, and I strain my back, I dig hard. I dig again, I look over the starboard side, and here's the hippo that had just breached. He's now charging us, and he's submerging, coming right towards us as if he's a submarine. And the wake behind him is a V, and he's coming strong. And Humphrey's screaming, paddle now! I paddle harder. I look over my right shoulder, and that hippo is right there. He's about 3 inches, maybe 4 inches under the water. This massive body coming right to the stern of the boat. As I paddle one more time, he hits the boat. It rocks back and forth, right, left. I brace myself. I dig one more time. I get to the north shore. Humphrey looks at me, tilts his head, shakes it. Teresa looks at me and says, thank you. Thank you so much for saving my daughter. I take a very deep breath. Another deep breath. I know that I'm safe now. Tish has made it to the other side with us. I think to myself, I wonder, did I get that shot? I did. Wow, a memory to go with an experience. In Africa, like in financial planning, many times the plan that you have doesn't go right. So you need 3 items. You need a map, you need documentation, and you need a compass. But one characteristic you also need is discipline. You have to have emotional discipline when the markets are down, and you have to have emotional discipline when your guide tells you, paddle now, and follow his instructions. Documentation in 2008 saved me. It saved me because I had the 3 elements that I mentioned. October 27th, 2008, my diary. Hines cash flow steady. Market rents greater than replacement rents cost. And the last line, Hines, my silver lining. I'd invested in many REITs and had much success as an advisor. For over a decade, I used Hines as my compass. I would strongly suggest everyone consider using Hines as your compass too.